Other studies have said, hey, upwards of 80% of all jobs are going to be impacted or accelerated by these. ARK Investment said that over the next 7 years, they're expecting in certain areas 10x increases in productivity. I think 300 million jobs or something like that was they said. And so, look, these are incredibly powerful and incredibly relevant that from a productivity standpoint in the commercial sector, I would guess over the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to start seeing shareholder expectations shift.
It's funny to hear you sort of use the investment banking as like an ego sort of bounding experience.
Yeah.
When I was transitioning, right, I had an economics degree from West Point. I was like, oh, I got a 50-pound brain. I'm wicked smart. And I like reached out to an old grad. I was like, hey, can I do an informational interview at this like real like niche bespoke shop?
Sure.
And I was like, I can do that. I can do that. I was killing bad guys in Afghanistan. And this dude just curbed me on an interview for like 30 minutes. I was fucking humiliated.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know the answer. And like, he got me so on my heels, like basic fundamentals just left my brain.
Sure.
And I couldn't answer anything. Yeah. He was like, hey man, you're an idiot. I was like, hey, thank you. And I didn't talk to him for like 5 years because I was so embarrassed. Then we ended up at a dinner again. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like that was one of the best things that could have ever happened. I was like, it's still clearly, we're talking 15 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And it's still just like imprinted into my brain.
Yeah. I think I came away from that realizing, you know, we all have superpowers in certain areas. They're not everywhere, but also stretching yourself is great too. Yeah. Right. And because you get comfortable and you stay in a certain area and you become an expert in that, but then there's a whole world outside of that. And if you want to grow and do broader things, right?
Yeah.
Going and deliberately trying to bolt on those tools can be really valuable.
Well, and it's especially folks with sort of backgrounds like ours who are transitioning out of organizations where there's strong allegiance and a strong sort of tribal mentality.
Yep.
The notion of sort of building your toolkit is something I'm going to click into a little bit. We're going to go off scripts. Not that we script these out. I don't want to confuse anyone that does any prep work.
Tyler, what are you doing?
When I talk to folks about sort of career progression and planning and all of it, I explain it like lily pads a lot of time, right? I'm like, hey, if you've got like sort of an idea where you want to go, think back to like where you are now. There's going to be some milestones, right? Like you have to fucking understand a P&L, sort of understand how you sell, how you understand value, how you map personas, how you do tech, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to learn all of that in one job. You don't have to know all of that out of the gate. You don't have to go to school to learn that. You can learn a little bit at this company and a little bit at that company, and your job post-transition isn't the next 20 years of your life, isn't the next 10 years of your life, and that's okay.
Yep.
I don't think enough people are comfortable yet with that you've got to sort of build your own toolkit because no one's going to build it for you.
Yeah, I think if you have intellectual curiosity and, you know, you're motivated by the newness and the novelty instead of, you know, I think for me at times I've been terrified by it, but you know, as I've gotten older and had more experiences, I said, you know what, I can pick new things up and I can learn. I kind of know I recognize a bit more the left and right bounds. Like I'm never going to be a data scientist. I'm never going to be a software engineer, but I can know enough to be dangerous and like for us take together to do some awesome stuff, right? And that was the case in, you know, in the intelligence domain and finance and now in tech as well. And that's what just makes it fun.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what you're up to now. So
at Unstructured, we are working to build a suite of tooling and a platform to unlock about 80% of an organization's data. Okay. So around, you know, approximately 80% of organizations' data is unstructured. And this is not a new problem, but we have new tech, which is really cool. And so at Primerware, as at previously, we're building applications on top of machine learning pipelines using unstructured data and doing some absolutely really cool stuff, right? But it was slow and artisanal. Think like an old cobbler, like chipping like things out of wood and building shoes one by one.
My fat ass was thinking blueberry or peach. I was like, man, I can go for some pie right now. But yes, we'll go to Geppetto.
So, so we saw uneven investments over the last decade, a lot in the computer vision domain, and some in natural language processing. And then GPT-3 happened in 2020. GPT-Neo happened after that. ChatGPT happened last year. GPT-4 happened this year. And what you've seen is that those models have brought down both the cost and the time to value. However, there are some really critical bottlenecks that still exist to activating, utilizing these next generation of machine learning models for mission applications. And this is something we had the opportunity to see when we were at Primer, and it was just unsexy stuff. How do you take PDFs or PowerPoints that contain valuable information, emails, right, text messages, and get it into a format where you can utilize it in conjunction with that?
I remember sitting in Vegas with you when it was still on like a single laptop, and you were like, is this fucking interesting? And I was like, if that can happen at scale, that is the least sexy thing in the world, but it is absolutely transformative.
And so what we're doing now at Unstructured is we're going to organizations, large enterprises, and saying, hey, let's get you guys ready, your data ready for machine learning, okay? And keep it ready. And so call us like an ETL, extract, transform, load, call us ingestion, pre-processing. Bottom line, we're taking data no matter where it sits, no matter what file type it is, and getting it into a format, which is JSON for all the nerds on the getting into a JSON format usually, so that these LLMs can interact with it. And so you can have like a ChatGPT type experience on your network, on your data.
With your own data. You can query your own data.
That's the power.
Bring your data to life almost.
Exactly. It's all self-contained within your network for your people with your data. And so large organizations are producing millions of pages of natural language data a day. Think about that over the last 20 years if you're able to query that, chat your data. We're right at that inflection point. And so at Unstructured, we're trying to buy down the cost of just getting up and going with ingestion and pre-processing.
So good transition into sort of LLMs. I mean, it's all the rage right now. Talk about why do they matter, right? Why should folks, maybe if someone's listening who's like, I saw ChatGPT, or I know that Congress can't figure out how to log into a computer. Like, why should somebody care about LLMs? What do they unlock?
There have been 2 studies done in the last, call it like 45 days, that have been very fascinating. The first was by a couple of researchers at MIT. And what they did is they gave cohorts of, knowledge workers, white collar workers, just access to ChatGPT. That was it. They just said, hey, please go create a login and just start using it. What they find, the folks that actually created the login and got going, no matter what background they're, this is folks that have been working for 20, 30, 40 years, right? At minimum, they saw 37% productivity gains.
Golly.
The model doesn't have access to their data. It hasn't been tuned on their data, and they haven't received any formal training.
Just pure general.
Just log in and go. 37% productivity, right? Upwards of 70 to 80% once you start making those investments. This is with generation 1 of these models. Other studies have said, hey, upwards of 80% of all jobs are going to be impacted or accelerated by these. ARC Investment said that over the next 7 years, they're expecting in certain areas 10x increases in productivity. Goldman.
Is an ARC statement sort of like the Kramer inverse? Like, can I say that, right? Like, should I fucking bet on an ARC thesis?
Goldman echoing it as well. And so...
All right, well, there you go.
There you go. There's something.
Goldman's not trifling.
I think 300 million jobs or something like that was they said. And so, look, these are incredibly powerful and incredibly relevant that, from a productivity standpoint in the commercial sector, I would guess over the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to start seeing shareholder expectations shift to showing a lot more leverage off of your underlying workforce.